This is David from David's Random, and today my random task is taking out a dealership installed alarm system that's installed over a factory alarm system in my 2013 FJ. So let's go ahead and get started. So we'll start off by disconnecting the battery, and I'm just going to do the negative on here. No reason to go crazy. So we'll set that aside, disconnected. And now everything is going to be right up underneath here. So I'll grab a light so you can see what's going on. And we got to get rid of this stupid thing first. And that's easy enough. We can just unplug this from here to start. And we can go from there. Now the control module is stuffed up in here somewhere. So this is just a fuse panel here. So this is going to lead us up to it. It's this wire that I just unplugged for the light. So as soon as we undo this, we'll figure out where the hell it is. So very carefully undo the zip tie. And this is tied into all this. And now we can start to see where everything is spliced in at. So we're going to start disconnecting from here. It's kind of hard to see what I'm dealing with, but these are not factory. Now the nice thing about alarm systems is they're always just tied in via a jumper wire, so we just have to look at how the wires are tied in here. So for instance, this little plug here is tied into the ground over here. I don't know if you can see that, but that's how all those are tied in there. And we're gonna remove all of that and make it very clean and back to factory. I probably should remove this panel, but I don't know if I need to. So I'm gonna start with all of the wires that are tied in right here. I see a couple of jumpers here and there. You can see them down in there. Those all have to be removed. So we'll start with that. There's this one wire that goes down the side. So let's see here. Where is that hiding it? It's most likely the box may be hidden behind this panel. I'm not sure. Just removed the cover that was in the footwell here. This is what we were just looking at. Following this line down, you'll see that this is tied into the wiring harnesses right over here on both sides. There's one undone. I'm taking these clips out too. There we go. Your free wire. I should probably tape these up before they've been mauled. 2 wires liberated. I need some electrical tape. Another one right here. I cannot get to. Underneath this wiring harness. Pop the clip off of that one. And if you're having issues with like your power windows, or your lights are doing weird things, or your horn is all of a sudden going off when you're arming and unarming the car, it's usually due to a bad alarm control module. And it's usually an aftermarket alarm control module that's screwing it up. So just removing it usually clears up those problems. I had to do this on my wife's Fiat 500. Same thing. And it took care of her car. Okay. just a ton of these little clips, and these are what these things look like. That's the pain in the ass. Now technically you could just remove them and leave these little clips in here, but I don't ever want to see this thing again, so I'm taking it out. So those are now out of there. And I've got two little wires back here that I cannot see. They're going off to somewhere. Oh, those are added grounds. Okay, so all I have to do is undo this ground bolt. So now that that's on there, I can sort of easily undo this wiring harness. There. Get it out of my way so I can screw this bracket back on. Okay. Alright, the ground is removed off there. Hopefully that's in a good position. So that's this part of it. Now if we come back up here, that was this part of the wiring harness. So, so now I have a couple to intend with in here. Now you see this line that's cut here, right across here? I'm going to have to rejoin that. Because that is your main power wire coming in. It's just cut in half. So that's the only thing we actually have to do some wiring on this. The rest of it's still just disassembling. So let me pull these other wires out. Shouldn't be too bad, I don't think. I got all those little adapter thingies out. Now I just got to fix this. And unfortunately, this is just going to be the only kind of half-assed thing there because, well, can't undo everything. So that is that. Now go in, I think this is 14 gauge. Let's see here. Close enough. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just cap these and put a crimp on it. Not my favorite way to do stuff, but it's back together. So anyway, now that is out of there. So we can keep pulling this wire, and I see another wire up in here. I don't know if you can see this right here. There are two more tied in there. So there's one right here, and then another one above that. So I have to undo those, then I'll be able to move on. Right, let's see if we can see up in there. So tied to the steering column here, I believe this right here is our module. Just pull this whole thing down, and there it is. Okay, and there you go. That's it. That's the whole thing. Min, max, blah. So this one wasn't as bad as the one that's in my wife's Fiat. But still, it had how many connection points? But everything's cleaned up. So now I think I can just put this back together. But before we do anything, we got to make sure it still runs. So, time to put the battery back on. Should be good. Okay. So now everything is back together. Let's make sure that everything works the way it's supposed to. All seems good. Okay, door locks work, so let's try the ignition just to make sure that everything's good. Ooh. All is good. Oh yeah, so my compass is freaking out. So what you have to do for that is hit set and then drive around in a circle in a parking lot and it'll reset. But I have to take care of that. Reset my clock. All my radio stations are still there, so I'm good there. But that's it. So here you go, some high quality Chinesium for you. You know, most dealerships install these on their used car lot, and that's where I got the FJ and my wife's Fiat 500. And the reason why they do this is so that way they can lock and unlock all the different cars easily. So if you have a Toyota parked next to a Ford, parked next to a Chevy, you can just unlock everything all at once. And then they try to convince you that, you know, this shouldn't be taken out because it's helping your alarm system. It doesn't help anything. These things are just crap. They're nowhere near as good as the factory alarm system that's already in the car, and they don't hold up nearly as long. Usually I see these go bad about every 3 to 4 years, somewhere around there. And so the only thing you have to look for really to uninstall these, and they're all the same. They're always going to be zip tied in. There's always going to be some sort of LED blinker light. And this one also has a reset program button and a battery tray or something like that. I don't know what that's for. I don't think that's battery tray. It's just a reset program button for this thing. And they're always plugged in with added plugs. They're always going to be crimped in with these crimping clips, and then they'll always be grounded somewhere. And then there's always going to be one wire that's spliced into the main ignition power source, which is what that was tied into. So that's the only place where you're actually going to have to make a connection back, is repairing that power wire. But other than that, it's a 10mm bolt to get the ground wire off. Pretty simple. So anyway, I hope you guys like this video. Leave me a comment, subscribe to my channel for more random information like this, and we'll talk to you guys later. See ya.